Hello, welcome to Hope at Home. Sylvester and I are very happy to have you here. Everyone's happy to have you here. It's going to be a great week. And it's time now to visit with our friend Professor Oldmann, because I believe he's about to have a visitor. You remember Leepen Lizard? Leepen Lizard was talking to us not too long ago today about having a little problem reading a passage. Let's see what's going on with Leepen Lizard and Professor Oldmann.
Let's see here. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. 4:23. Guard your heart. This is one of those passages the professor said I should read. Another one of those things about the heart. I gotta ask him what it means. Wanna come along? Oh, wow! A dodo! Hey there, my friend. How you doing? Hey, Professor. Was that a dodo at your door?
Why, Leepen Lizard, I thought you might be dropping by, and yes, that's a dodo. He's my house guest for the next few weeks.
But I thought dodos were extinct.
So did I, until I met this one. The world is so full of all sorts of things that are just waiting to be discovered. What are you here to discover today?
Jumping June bugs, Professor. You should know by now, I'm still trying to figure out all that heart stuff from the Bible verses you've been giving me.
Well, it just fills my heart that you have so many questions.
Well, there you go with all those heart figures of speech. And I get it. If your heart is filled, that means you're happy. And if your heart is broken, that means you're sad. But then you give me this one, guard your heart. How do I guard my heart? Eat less salt?
Well, that would be a good way to have a healthier heart if you're talking about a blood pump. But, of course, the Bible thinks of the heart as the center of our emotions.
Oh, yeah. That's a good review, Professor. But it still don't explain what guard my heart means.
Well, let's see. Let's think about how much better our lives would be if we never let ourselves stay angry at someone, or if we made up our minds to stop being so greedy. You know, if we learned how to control the emotions that make us feel awful about ourselves.
That's what guarding your heart means, right?
Sure. Let me think of another example. Humans guard their houses by locking their doors. They take care of their homes by keeping them safe.
Yeah, just like I lock my door at Rhoda Toad's boarding house. You never know what might be crawling around that place.
Exactly. And if we don't guard our hearts, all sorts of emotions that make us feel bad about ourselves might crawl in.
Yeah, I think I'm getting it. If I don't guard my heart, something rotten like jealousy might creep in. Those things need to be locked up permanent.
Yes, Leepen, and then you would have room in your heart to let in the good feelings, like admiring someone who can run fast instead of being jealous because they're faster than you are.
Well, that's pretty wise advice, Professor.
Well, everything in the book of Proverbs is wise advice. It was written thousands of years ago, but good advice never gets old.
Well, as per usual, Professor, you got all the answers. You filled my heart with joy, and my brain's overflowing with more information than I bargained for.
Always a pleasure, Leepen.
Now that I'm brimful with all that wisdom, how about I go meet the world's last dodo?
Of course, he's out in the creek looking for shellfish.
Wow, that sounds delicious. See you, Professor.
Leepen Lizard's a good friend, isn't he? And today, I have another good friend I want you to meet. His name is Birney Bear, and he's excited to tell you about even another friend of his. Birney lives in a hollow tree in the woods just behind the house. Let's go see him.
Hey everybody, My name is Birney Bear, and I'm here to tell you about my friend, Reverend Will Brown, who takes care of bees. That's right, he takes care of bees, and they're so nice. He has a queen bee, and he feeds them bee food every day so that they can make bear food, which is honey. So take it away, Reverend Will Brown.
Hi, my name is Will, and I'm a beekeeper. I live in western Illinois in a town called Abingdon. And today, I'm going to introduce you to my bees. Now, you might notice I'm in a dressed all in white here. This is my beekeeper suit. So I'll put the hat on here that goes with it. It's good to be safe when you're doing anything, and when you're working with bees, sometimes you have to wear protective clothing. These are just regular dishwasher gloves. And this suit keeps the bees back so they can't sting me, which keeps it safe for me. And it's also good for the bees too, because it helps keep them from getting aggravated. Take a second here and kind of crawl inside my suit. It's still me in here. There we go. There. Now I'm mostly safe from the bees. Not that they're mean. The bees are actually pretty nice. They're very friendly, but they're protective of their homes, which this is where the bees live, in their homes. This is their hives. And for me to check on the bees, to inspect them, I kind of have to, I'm a guest in their home, and they're not totally a fan of that, usually. Sometimes they're okay with it, sometimes they're not. We're going to hope that today they're friendly. Before I get into the hives, I'm going to take a few seconds and show you a couple of the tools that I use. Now, one tool I use, it's a brush, and I use this to kind of help sweep the bees back so I can look at the frames that have the honeycomb and see what the bees are doing. This is another tool, and this is probably the one I use the most. It's called a hive tool. Let's see if you can see it a little better here. And this helps me, the bees make three things. They make wax, they make honey, which is of course what everybody likes, and they also make this stuff called propolis. And propolis, it's kind of like super glue, and the bees use it to seal up everything in their home so the air doesn't get in and out and water stays out. They use it to seal everything up, and it also makes it really sticky inside their hive. So you use this tool to help manipulate the frames to be able to get them out to look at them. And of course, the famous tool that every beekeeper, when you think of beekeepers that you always think of them, is this, and this is a smoker. And I don't use this very often, but it does help. What we do is I give them a couple puffs of smoke, and all it is it's cedar wood, and I give them a couple puffs of smoke, and that kind of confuses the bees for a few moments, just like when you're around a campfire and the wind switches and you get smoke, you kind of have to wipe your eyes and nose out. Well, it's kind of the same way for the bees, and that distracts them so that I can look at things and put their hive back together and everybody can be on their way.
That was such a fun sequence with Will working with the bees. He's working with nature and he feeds the bees, and it was just amazing to see what he can do. By the way, I don't know if you know it or not, but those bees, those worker bees, are all girls. Yay, girl bee power.
Sylvester seems to want to get a lot of relaxing in today. He had a good time, just as I did, hearing all of the information that was given to us by some very wonderful new friends and some old friends. But it's time now for Sylvester and me to say, go in peace, and see you soon.